So this is video number 5 and part 4 of me sharing about the book called Los Romeros. I've been reading this for a few months now, and actually the book has been so good that as I neared the end of it, I slowed myself down so that I wouldn't finish it so fast. That's how much I liked it. I think I'm going to read it again in a year or two. I also made myself read other books in the meantime so I don't finish it too fast. So right now I'm also reading War and Peace. That's right. I am on page... what page am I on? I have a bookmark somewhere on page 493. Almost halfway. This is a 1200 page book. It's really, really good. I'm finally going to get through it. I'm also reading The Intelligent Investor. For those of you that are into investing for your retirement, I highly recommend this book. This comes recommended as probably one of the top 3 books on the topic, on the subject. It's a book recommended by Warren Buffett, written by Benjamin Graham. About a quarter of the way. I'm on page 213. This is a 600 page book, I think. Yeah. So very, very good book on the subject. And I'm also reading The Spirit of Music. This is the second, kind of sort of like a sequel. Some of you will remember that a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, I think, I was reading The Music Lesson. This is by the great bassist Victor Wooten. And I have, I think, 5 videos on this book. And this one is a sequel. Just came out literally weeks ago. And it's called The Spirit of Music. And it's a very interesting approach to writing about music, music theory, music practice, from a person who definitely doesn't just talk about it, but knows how to do it. So I highly recommend this book. If you haven't read the first one, you should read that one first. I'll soon start a review of this book. I'm already on page like 100. It's a very easy reader, especially compared to this or this. This is not as long as War and Peace, but the terminology is very... this is a financial book, so there's a lot of financial terms that I have to really look up and read slowly and understand what he's talking about. So anyways, I'm reading all these books, and I was doing it in a way just to postpone the end of this one because I liked it so much. And I finally finished it a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to share the last video, one last video on it. I'll place link of all of these sections at the bottom, as well as I'll place Amazon links for the books I was showing you. If you have any interest in those, take a look, as well as some resources about the Romeros. So yeah, take a look at that if you're interested. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you're welcome to do that. Thank you so much for doing that, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to make Mr. Algorithm happy. So thank you in advance for that. So this was part 4. It's the 5th video. I did have an introduction video, and there's 4 chapters in this part. The part is titled Legacy, and chapter 13 talks about the Romero technique. And I'm not going to spoil the book for you. I know at least one of you are reading it with me, and possibly others as well. So, but I'll just give you just a basic idea of each section. So chapter 13 talks about the Romero technique, and then it talks about each individual approach to guitar technique, and also some publications that some of them published on the topic. Chapter 14 is titled The Romero Repertoire, and that's a very interesting chapter in which the author talks about transcriptions that the Romeros made over the years for guitar quartet, guitar quintet, guitar duet, trio, and so on and so forth. And also about major composers of the 20th century that were commissioned to write for the Romeros, such as the great Rodrigo and others like him. So that's a very that's a great chapter to read that I almost wanted to read twice. Chapter 15. Chapter 15 was the saddest chapter in the entire book. It's titled "Breaking Up is Hard to Do," and this is where the Romeros start to just break apart. Everything seems to be falling apart, not just in their musical, on their musical journey, but even their personal lives. They kind of start breaking up, and some of them leave and are replaced by younger players, and also their personal lives, their family lives. Many of them fall apart, and there's divorce, and there's remarriage, and there's sadness, and it's probably the saddest chapter I read in a long time. I almost wanted to tear it out of the book and just throw it away somewhere, but it's life, it's reality, so it belongs there. It's a real book. It doesn't avoid reality. And then chapter 16 is titled "The Next Generations," and I'm not going to spoil that for you, but in that chapter the author talks about the younger guitarists in the family that are kind of trying to take over and carry the legacy of the family for generations to come. So there's musicians in there, there's composers, there's a very important luthier in the family that builds classical guitars and ukuleles. So take a look at that if you're interested. There's an appendix section that's very, very useful. The appendixes section that contains a chronology list. It's like 3 pages of what happened in chronological order. It was very helpful. There's a genealogy, a couple of charts with family members and things like that. There's a list of albums, which is really good to look at if you want to listen to some of their music. Also a section on sources and publications, which was also very interesting. And then I wanted to say that throughout the book, the author offers a very extensive list of notes. There are literally hundreds of notes throughout the book with specific details of what he's talking about in that specific area. I will end talking about this book by reading the last couple of paragraphs. This is on page 274, and it sounds something like this. Be that as it may, here below, in all times and places, the love of music has remained a defining characteristic of our species. This immemorial passion for musical warmth and color found and still finds one of its most beautiful expressions in the 24-string guitar known as Los Romeros. You'd have to read it for yourself, and I really, really enjoyed the last couple of pages. And that's it. That's the book, Los Romeros. I highly recommend it to any of you that are guitarists or musicians, or even if you're not a guitarist or a musician. The book reads so well, and it's so detailed, and it's so happy and sad and funny and informative that I think every single person would really enjoy it. It has some 300 pages altogether, close to 300 pages, and 4 different sections. Easy to read, fun to read, lots of pictures, lots of charts, lots of historical information. A very well written book, I thought. I also encourage you to take some time and watch some Romero's videos, as well as their anniversary video that they published this year. So it's a good coincidence that I'm reading this book right now as they celebrate their anniversary this year. It was the 60th or the 65th, I can't remember right now. 6 decades or more they've been together. So that's a great video to watch, about an hour long. I'll paste a link of that at the bottom as well. I want to thank you for watching the 5 videos in this series. Again, the book is Los Romeros. Take a look at it if you want. Watch the other videos if you want. I'm going to enjoy a couple more sips of my tea here. Really good. What do you put in your tea? I put nothing in my tea. I feel that a good tea, if you put anything in it, you ruin it. So no sugar, no Splenda, no lemon juice. I mean, if the tea is good, if it's a good tea, it shouldn't really need anything. That's how I feel anyways. I guess if you have some strong black tea, some strong English tea, if you put a little milk in it, that's fine to soften it up. But if it's a fruit herbal tea, I would just go with the tea itself and just leave it at that. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.